I've still got the clown's nose.
So I see. You should throw it away, George.
There's something I've been meaning to say to you, Nico.
Is this the right time and place, George?
There might not be another time. I don't want to waste this chance.
You don't need to say anything. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here, with you. Now.
You're exhausted. Why don't you get some sleep?
Sleep? At a time like this?
Excited, huh?
Would you like something to help you sleep, dearie? I've got some tablets in my bag.
Oh, no. Thank you.
Thanks all the same, ma'am. The old lady reminded me of my grandmother, except, of course, that this old lady was still alive. She was as beautiful as ever, but the shadows beneath her eyes marked the strain of the last few days. Pardon me?
Yes, my dear.
Do you know what time we're due in Stirling?
6:15, but we're running 8 minutes late.
Would you believe that this clown's nose led us to being on this train tonight?
I would indeed.
No, honestly, You would?
Certainly. You have an honest face.
Yep. That's a nose with a history, all right.
So you said.
What's the book you're reading?
Oh, it's something I picked up at the station. A medieval detective story. Quite well written for that kind of thing. It's been out of print for years.
What's the title of the book?
The Crooked Crusader Caper by Molly Pegram. I assumed the author was a woman, but apparently not. His real name is...
Professor Nigel Pegram.
That's right. Do you know him?
No, I never met him.
George is a great fan of his, though.
Do you know Stirling well?
Yes, I do. Is that where you two lovebirds abound?
Yeah, we...
It's one of the places we thought we'd see on our holiday.
Be sure to visit the castle, won't you?
Oh, I'm sure it's a neat place, but we are not really interested in history, are we, George?
No.
I suppose espresso bars and boogie-woogie are more your cup of tea.
That's right. There's nothing George enjoys more than a good boogie.
Is there a church called St. Ninian's at Stirling?
Yes, there is, and I know why you're going there.
You do?
Of course I do. It's obvious you're in love. You're eloping, and they say romance is dead.
Where are you going, George?
Do I need to spell it out?
Don't snap at me. If you're going to take a leak, why don't you say so?
Okay, I'm going to take a leak. L-E-A-K.
Tickets, please.
Oh, hi.
That's a standard full-price peak return. Don't you have a senior citizen's rail card?
I rarely travel by train. My ticket is perfectly valid, is it not?
Well, yeah, but you could have saved up to a third of the cost.
I do not need to indulge in puffling thriftiness.
Blimey, you're a funny old bird and no mistake. Tickets, please, sir.
Here.
Off to Stirling, eh?
Yes, we are.
Well, I hope you won't be disappointed. It's a miserable place this time of year. Still, there's plenty of pubs and a lovely view from the castle.
Thank you.
I don't want to worry you, but There was something familiar about that guy.
Are you sure? You're tired. Perhaps you're mistaken.
Maybe. But I didn't like the look in his eyes when he spoke to you. Pardon me?
Yes, dear.
Yep. That's a nose with a history, all right.
So you said.
Can't you sit still, George?
I need to go to the John.
While you're there, check out the buffet car, George. Unthinkable though it is, I am hungry enough to eat English food.
Okay. The door was locked. It was the door to the baggage car. The door to a sleeping compartment. The door was locked. It was the door to a sleeping compartment. The door was locked. It was the door to a sleeping compartment. Oh, no. That gangster creep from the hotel, Guido. Well, he didn't scare me. Hey, Buster. This is a no-smoking car. Okay, maybe he did scare me. It got worse. I suddenly realized who the conductor had reminded me of. Anthony, Marquet's murderer. Guido looked like a weasel in a cheap suit. He also looked like the kind of man who wouldn't lose much sleep over murder. I really didn't want to shoot the breeze with this guy. Didn't want to shoot the breeze with this guy. I should have known better than to leave Nico and the old lady alone. Suddenly, the sword of Baphomet took second place to finding the girl I loved. The man's face was blotched and unshaven. I guess he'd been traveling all night. Red-rimmed eyes stared fish-like above his broken nose. All I could see of the man's face was a massive purple bruise around his eye. It was a strange contrast with his flaming red hair, which stuck out in stiff, greasy tufts. I didn't want to wake him. To be frank, without a cold water hose, I didn't think I could wake him. Hi, having a party?
No, this is breakfast. Come on, join us, man. Away, Basha, wake up, man. What's company?
His breath was like the outlet from a chemical factory.
Excuse me, mate, he's taking a nap. Sleeping like a bobby. I'll wake him up when we get to Newcastle.
We passed through Newcastle half an hour ago.
And I never noticed.
What is that stuff you're drinking? It smells like gasoline.
Aye, I'll put hairs in your chest, like.
And your eyeballs, too, by the looks of you. Would you like a red nose?
No, thanks, pal. I got one of my own.
Listen, I need your help.
What's the matter?
There's a guy on this train who's trying to kill me.
Relax, man. You wouldn't have tried nothing with us in Basharia. We are veterans like, so action at Brightlingsea.
I don't recall the British Army being involved in a conflict at anywhere called Brightlingsea.
Well, you just take it from me, pal, you're in safe hands.
Did you see what happened to the young woman in the next compartment?
No, pal, I didn't. Have you lost her, like?
She's disappeared. The old lady, too. I think they're in trouble.
Oh, wait, man, an old lady, too.
Yeah. You gotta help me.
Maybe they went to the toilet, like.
I don't think so.
They never go on their own. Always in pairs, you know.
No, she's been abducted, I'm sure. I've got to go look for her.
What's stopping you, pal?
The conductor. He's not what he seems.
You want to avoid him, like?
That's about it, yeah.
No problem.
See you later.
Don't do it, pal. Don't jump.
I don't intend to jump. I'm going to climb on top of the train.
You're kidding, aren't you?
Just watch me.
Hold on there, pal. I'll give you a hand, like.
It was the arm that fed electricity from the overhead cables to the train. I could almost smell the high-tension current. Now was my chance. You saved our lives, but why?
We were always on the same side, Stobart. Different causes, but a common enemy.
The Knights Templar?
Don't call them that. The real Templars were a noble foe. These barbarians have no right to that name. These men are no better than dogs.
What are the Neo-Templars after? What is the Sword of Baphomet?
Not what you think, my friend. It is a weapon, yes, but one which our enemies will find difficult to wield. A double-edged sword. A power older than Demolay, older than Solomon.
We'll stop them. You and me together. And Nico.
No, George. My journey ends soon at the Garden of Paradise.
You're talking in riddles. Can't you tell me straight what they're after?
The sword symbolizes a colossal energy caused by the alignment of the Earth's natural power fields.
Which are focused at St. Ninian's.
The energy endowed the Templars with the power which made them great. A power which made them charismatic to such an extent they could control the will of all around them.
Maybe not. How did you escape from the Bull's Head?
It is a long walk from the cliff of the Bull to the village, Stobart. Fortunately, I know the ways of the wilderness. Also, I have a sister who keeps a garage just around the corner. May Allah guide you to our enemies.
Thanks.
One last thing.
What? What is it? He's dead. Nico looked good, even in robes. Nico looked good, even in robes. Nico looked... The rear exit was barred and padlocked.
Don't even think about it, George.
What? Who?
Look me straight in the eye and tell me you weren't thinking of using that axe on Eklund.
Don't be foolish, woman. I was gonna use it on you. The guy was a professional killer. The last thing he deserved was sympathy. I had to admit it, though. I was sorry he'd ended up this way. Nico looked good.
Where do you think you're going?
Don't worry, I hadn't forgotten about you.
Answer me this instant, George Stobart.
I will, when I'm ready.
That's not fair, George.
No.
You took advantage while my hands were tied.
When Eklund pointed that gun at me, I thought I was gonna die. I thought of all the things I'd never get to do. And kissing you was at the top of my list.
George,
Uh-huh.
George, we've got to get off the train. Eklund could recover at any time.
So what are we waiting for?
What are you doing?
I'm out of here.
Not that door. Do you want to end up like Flap?
Not especially. What remains of him is well on his way back to London. I hope he was traveling on a return ticket. I'd feel happier if we had a gun or something.
Khan gave me something.
What?
His handbag.
Oh, great. If we run into any killers, we can give them a good buffeting. Didn't he have any weapons?
You don't know the half of it. This bag's full of C4.
Wow. Why didn't you say so? Boy, we'll show them now. What's C4?
Plastic, George.
We're going to shop our way to victory?
2 kilos of plastic explosive. The detonator's broken now.
No problem. We'll buy a box of matches somewhere.
It doesn't work that way. It takes a small explosion to start the big explosion.
Well, that's not much use then. What does that sign say?
Apparently, during the English Civil War in the mid-17th century, this place was used as an arms dump.
Yeah? What happened?
Look at the state of this place, George. You work it out.
Oh, stray spark?
You got it. The tower was the only thing to survive the blast.
I hope the explosion didn't destroy the Sword of Baphomet.
Do you? I rather hope it did.
It was just about recognizable as the church I'd seen reflected in the chalice. Templars, Roundheads, and Cavaliers. This place has seen a lot of history. A large arch led into the tower. She was as beautiful as ever, but the shadows beneath her eyes marked the strain of the last few days. Nico?
Uh-huh.
No. A large arch. It It was a heap of stones and stuff which had tumbled down from the rafters. I scrabbled around in the rubble and found an old clay pipe with a broken stem. Under one of the stones, I found a metal coin which was green with age. It was caked with soil, but what I'd found was a small cog and spindle. With mounting excitement, I felt something between my fingers. It was short, hard, and black. Something I hadn't expected to find here. It was a plastic pen top. I didn't find anything. The wheel turned reluctantly with a creak of complaint. There was no obvious way of removing the wheel from its housing. The wheel had a serrated edge which meshed with the turning cog. Marks on the spindle behind the wheel suggested it once had a rope attached to it. The stone face of the demon grinned with a horribly lifelike expression. It was so realistic, I could imagine the sculptor carving it from a live model. Examining the demon more closely, I realized something about its face. It was a clever illusion. No matter where I stood, the eyes weren't looking at me. There was a simple reason. The demon didn't have any eyes. The cog slipped neatly into the eye socket. With the clay pipe in his mouth, he looked happy, homely, like somebody's granddaddy.
What do you think you're doing, Josh?
I wondered if there was a secret mechanism in the demon's mouth.
Maybe you should show a little more respect.
For a mythical medieval demon? Give me a break.
Okay, go right ahead. Meddle with forces you don't understand. Incur the demon's wrath and burn in hell. Just see if I care.
Above the carved cross was an indecipherable inscription. For all I knew, it could have been scribed in Gaelic. I tried pushing the panel, but wasn't surprised when it failed to move. It was a heap of stones and stuff which had tumbled down from the rafters. The cog turned freely, but nothing happened. The cog... I pushed the pen top into the mouth, and it disappeared somewhere inside the statue. It had probably gone straight to Biro Hell. The wheel turned reluctantly with a creak of complaint. There was no obvious way of removing the wheel from its housing. There was no... I didn't find anything. It was a simple cog arrangement with a handle to turn the larger wheel. The handle turned easily and the larger wheel began to revolve. Damn! Then the handle came off in my hand. Sometimes the most childish gestures can have a cathartic effect. The transformation of the demon to a clown did just that for me. The cog turned freely, but nothing happened. Without the handle, the small cog and spindle were seemingly useless. Without the I didn't find anything. The wheel turned reluctantly with a creak of complaint. There was no obvious way of removing the wheel from its housing. Without the handle, there was no way of reconnecting the handle to the cog except by welding it. Nico?
Uh-huh.
What are you doing?
Committing this inscription to memory.
Can you read it?
No.
What's the point of studying the inscription if you can't read it?
Because it could be important. A clue to whatever we're looking for, who knows? I might find someone in Stirling to translate it.
We don't have time to go looking for a linguist.
No? At least I am doing something positive.
What language is that inscription written in?
You're the languages student, you tell me.
It looks like ancient Norse. Maybe.
Perhaps it's in code.
I don't think so.
Norse code.
Nico, I found an old clay pipe.
George, I don't care.
Look, I found an old coin. You think it's worth anything?
George, focus on the situation at hand, please.
Maybe not. The cog turned freely, but nothing happened. It was a heap of... The wheel had a serrated... Marks on the spindle behind the wheel suggested it once had a rope attached to it. Now that the handle was gone, it was easy to remove the cog and spindle. With a rasp of metal on stone, I eased the second eye into place. I pushed the handle into the demon's mouth. The cogs all meshed. I began to turn. As soon as I saw the flickering torches, I realized the bogus Templars had beaten us to the sword. But where were they now? And why was it so quiet? The powder spilling from the barrels reminded me of pirate stories I'd loved when I was a kid. It was gunpowder. It was definitely gunpowder, but it had solidified over the centuries it had lain here undisturbed. The torch burned with a sickly dim glow and a stench like fire and brimstone.
No, Georges!
What?
Leave the torch right where it is. In case you haven't noticed, the crypt is full of gunpowder.
So what? Don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust.
No? You think I'm a jerk, don't you?
Don't be silly, Georges, and keep your voice down. I thought I heard something. Like chanting.
She was as beautiful as ever, but the shadows beneath her eyes marked the strain of the last few days. Nico?
Uh-huh.
It looks like the Templars got here first.
We might not be too late. There's still a chance.
I wish I had your optimism.
So do I, Georges. Sometimes you're so negative. Listen, I can definitely hear chanting.
You're right. I hear it too. What do you suppose they're doing?
It wouldn't surprise me if they were holding some kind of satanic sex ritual.
So, what are we waiting for? Shh! Will you look at that? Baphomet. Lobineau was right. This place was ancient even to the Templars.
This whole place? This is Baphomet?
Finally, the truth. The Templars had never worshipped this graven image, no more than they'd worship a rainbow. But, like a rainbow, they regarded it as a symbol of a covenant with God, who'd revealed this place to them.
Rosso! Why, the double-dealing treacherous?
On the contrary, Inspector Rosso has been the model of obedience, an important quality in a true Templar. Now be quiet and watch if you wish to live much longer.
Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here to witness the reforging of the sword that was broken. Here before God's sentinel, Baphomet. Grand Master and Knight of Baphomet, we salute and pledge our obedience to you!
I salute you, gatekeeper of the temple. Seven centuries ago, our greatest weapon, the sword of Baphomet, was lost to us. Now we prepare to reforge it, to wield against new enemies. As the tired millennium dies, and this world looks for new leaders, we shall not fail. We shall lead the people to a new order, wherein all borders will dissolve. All will be united under the red cross of the Templars.
George, we have watched your efforts to stop us with respect. But surely you realize that you have been misled by our enemies. Both of us want a better world. Fortunately, no harm has been done. We need determined, resourceful men like you. Join us, George. Join us in true brotherhood.
Yeah. True. Wait. Brothers? What about Marquet? What about Pegram and Klausner? You didn't look on them as brothers, only as failures. 3 men dead, and you don't give a damn.
George, you know that sacrifices are necessary. Every great undertaking.
Join you. I'll see you in hell first.
Oh, George, I had great hopes for you. C'est la guerre. Eklund, kill him.
I just wanted things to be right.
Take them. Kill them. They will not escape.
Well, well. If it isn't the great detective and his beautiful assistant, it's going to be a pleasure killing the pair of you.
George, what are we going to do?
Come on, Nico. We're leaving.
You fools! You cannot escape us. Guido! Stop them.
But master, the powder!
That powder is from the English Civil War. You fool. It's over. 300 years old.
I thought it was all over, but Nico had one last trick up her sleeve. Or in her handbag, to be exact. A handbag full of plastic explosives.
Maybe, but this stuff is brand new.
Oh.
You know, you'll never be able to write your story now.
I don't care. I've got what I want.
Huh?
Just tell me one thing, George. Is our life together always going to be this crazy?